Good morning. You've made it to strategy 5. And full disclosure here, I haven't actually used this strategy in quite a while. It's one of those that I love. It's so close to my heart, but it's one of those that's also sometimes tough for the type of student that we've typically gotten in physics to buy into as a good use of time. Typically, our physics students are matter of fact. They want things cut and dried. They want a simple question, and they want to be able to develop an answer. Unfortunately, life isn't like that, but they haven't learned that yet. So there's time. That's what college is for, right? But anyway, this is the haiku argument, and so it's sort of based off of the haiku summary strategy, which, you know, to be honest, I learned about, I can't even tell you how long ago. I think the first time I used it was in 98, maybe 99, when I was still teaching middle school and students were a little bit more open to these kinds of strategies. You know, the little kids, they'll do what you want to do, no matter what you say. So I was also teaching in an arts-focused academy, so it kind of played into their real wheelhouse there. So anyway, I think it's a great strategy. It's exciting. I'd like to reintroduce it to my classes. Probably next year I'll get into it. But I've modified it here to try to make some kind of an argument. So it's a little bit trickier to do a haiku argument than it is to do a haiku summary. If you haven't done haiku summaries before, I think they're pretty awesome. It really focuses your mind on trying to hit what's most essential. If you're looking at small numbers of syllables in each line, and each line sort of has to be a cohesive unit, it really focuses students in on what's most important. It's also a great way to take a look at the terms that you're using over the course of the unit itself and get the kids to interact with those. And then I also have in here a description of the relationship. And so really I learn quite a bit about what their thinking is just by what they write in there. So if they come up with a list of terms, that's pretty easy in my class because we have things like Quizlets and so on that they can go back and refer back to. So that's not a big deal usually. But then what they write here in the description of the relationship is kind of interesting. And then it's always nice to see what they come up with here. Okay, so here's a close-up view of the template. Hold on for a sec while I move the screen just a bit. There we go. Everything's okay. Nothing to worry about. There we are. Okay, so you can see it. It's pretty straightforward. I have just a quick description here. We'll get to this part in just a second. I asked the students to put down a list of the terms that they might use and then the number of syllables. You know, it sounds goofy to say that, but it actually really helps to have them list off the terms and then how many syllables, so that it helps them brainstorm when they get down to the bottom here. So the description of the relationship, as I mentioned before, is really the message that you're trying to relate in prose, right? So you're sort of just kind of laying it out there. And I usually say, I apologize to any English teachers that might be watching. It doesn't need to be grammatically correct. These are really just notes for them, so they can write them any way they want. And then what I really want to see here is something that's a little bit more polished. So I don't have a lot of examples because I want to show you this link here in just a minute. But I do have one, and that's from physics. So here's one that we might have done. Again, I haven't used this in a while, but one that might have been done with the lab that we're actually doing today. So the whole point of my lab today is that we're exploring the law of conservation of momentum for systems. And if it's a closed system, that means that all the energy and momentum is kept inside. Or I should say all the momentum is kept inside. There's a little energy loss, but that's okay. Unfortunately, when you get to the real world, you don't often have closed systems. And so I'm trying to relate their textbook understanding of the conservation of momentum to what they might see in the real world. And so we're doing a close approximation of a closed system, but there's still going to be some loss. And so typically students are disappointed when they see that their numbers don't cancel out like they're supposed to. And so this might be something that you could do to argue that the system is not closed. And this would give me a pretty good sense for whether they got the main idea of our particular lab that we're doing today. So I just kind of threw this together very quickly. Here's all the terms they might use with their syllable numbers. Interestingly, you wouldn't think that I would need to use them, but I referred back to it quite a bit, so I assume the students would refer back to it quite a bit as well. Anyway, there's my description of what I just talked about, the main idea I was hoping to get at, and then here is what I put together. Now, for a haiku, typically they're a single message. Typically they involve some sort of a humor or wordplay. I don't have that in here. I do have the single message idea. And then typically each line is its own idea, sort of isolated from the others, but then goes together with the others. Sort of like 3 sentences in a paragraph, if you wish. The first line should have 5 syllables, the second line should have 7, and the third should have 5 again. So here's what I put together. Carts meet on a track. P changes, do not cancel. The system is open. P in this case stands for momentum, and so that's where they're getting that there. Anyway, so, you know, what do I learn from that? I learn, if this was what I got, then I would learn that they got the basic idea, that since the changes in momentum don't cancel, that we know that the system is open, and all real-world systems are going to be open to some extent, unfortunately. Now, let's go back to this link here for a second, and I believe it does work on Chromebooks. So if you click on this link, this is a strategy that the Haiku summary is promoted by Read, Write, Think, which is a great website. If you haven't ever taken a look at it, you really should explore it a little bit. They got lots and lots and lots of resources for free, so check it out when you get a chance. But if you click on this link now, you'll see that there's a Haiku, kind of a Haiku web app, I guess, if that's what you want to call it here. There we go. So it's really pretty, actually, and that's why I like it. It's kind of I don't know. It's not going to help them necessarily put it all together, but then you hopefully will get the idea that this should be something that's also beautiful or also interesting or creative. And so putting it in a scenario in a setting in which it looks pretty is going to help them to buy into the process, I think. Anyway, so if you come down here, move the window down just a minute here. I apologize. Don't freak out. It's okay. There we go. So it asks you to put in your name. And I'm going to move it down just a little bit more. There we go. So I'll put in my name. And I'm going to go ahead and hit start. Okay. And then you can see here that it does have the same thing that I was looking at before, where you put in potential words that you might use and the number of syllables. Then you go forward and you can actually title your poem. Now I've already done this, so I'm trying to be a little bit faster with this one here. So if I go ahead and put in, like, what did I say? Carts meet on a track. Is that right? Carts meet on track. On a track, sorry. P changes. Would help if I actually remembered what I wrote. Do not cancel. There we go. And then, what did I write here? Let's see. The system is open. There we go. Perfect. Okay. So I don't know what we call it here. P changes. There we go. Because that's not weird at all. There it is. So I'm going to go ahead and hit next. Now the cool thing is you can, it has lots of ways to make this look pretty. And so it gives you a number of different text styles. I prefer this one. Looks a little bit more like brush strokes. And then some backgrounds that you can use. Here's my favorite right there. Use the koi if you want, or just blank if you want. I don't never use blank. Anyway, so there's that. And then what you can do is you can go ahead and either use a snipping tool, or I think you can, yeah, since it's a flash thing, you want to make sure to either come up to the top here and save it. So you got access to saving it if you wish, or you can use your snipping tool to go ahead and take a picture of it. Anytime we do something like this in class, I usually have the students take a screenshot of it and then snip that out. Again, it's kind of trying to engage the creative side of things, trying to engage different parts of the brain that don't often get engaged in physics. So that's my goal. I don't know. Hope that helps. If you have any questions, please go ahead and let me know. Thanks.